Hello guys. Sorry for not posting for a while, but I had some issues. Also my microphone died, so hopefully with this new one the sound quality will be better. Anyways, today I'm here to share some exciting news with you. I'm not sure if you read this article, probably not because it doesn't even exist. But what happened a few weeks ago, Gandalf Gambit faced its first Grandmaster opponent, and the opponent just got crushed. It's not my game, unfortunately, but shout out to Monkey King. This guy, he wrote me on Leeches a couple of weeks ago that he's trying the Gambit ideas from my videos in rated games on Leeches, and he's having some fun with the Gambits. So I want to share this Gandalf Gambit game which he played against a Grandmaster from Vietnam, I believe, and the Grandmaster's name is Nguy Duc Shoa. Hopefully I pronounced it correctly. If not, I'm so sorry. Anyways, let's have a look at this game. So, the Gandalf Gambit, it starts as a Scandinavian, the modern variation, and well, we want them to play the move c4, after which we are going to offer a pawn. This is the theory of the Icelandic pawn gambit, but here rather than capturing with our bishop, we are going to play bishop to c5. So this is the Gandalf Gambit, very fun opening where your opponents are very likely to capture on f7 because it just looks so tempting to lurk our king to f7 to lose his castling rights and just look stupid. But in this position, believe it or not, but there is only one correct continuation for white, and also tons of traps which white players may fall into. So if you want to know more about this opening, I highly suggest that you watch my very long analysis of all sorts of tricks and traps which you can get into with Gandalf Gambit. But in this particular game, this Grandmaster decided not to even walk into any sorts of prepared trouble from the Gandalf Gambit, and he declined the gambit right away by playing pawn to d4. So with this move he is just straight away offering a pawn back, and also will probably try to catch up with the development quickly. So the Monkey King happily grabs this pawn on d4, as this is not a very good way to deal with the Gandalf. And now this Grandmaster goes with knight to f3, trying to develop with the tempo and overlooking a rather simple tactic here, because now our Gandalf is able to just capture on f2 with a check. King cannot capture back because of this queen loss, so king to e2 is forced, and now this position is just great for black because black is able to swap the queens and recapture the pawn on e6, being up a pawn, having better position, better development and no weaknesses. So white tries to develop some pieces and he goes bishop to d3, Monkey King just develops his knight to c6, and here white goes for king to e2, harassing the black bishop, but it simply retreats back to c5. Here white goes for pawn to a3, so with this move he is preventing some knight moves and also preparing pawn to b4, and Monkey King just simply finishes his development with long castling. So b4 is played, to try to harass the bishop, but well, in this position Monkey King plays the last move of this game, and that is a nice move, rook to e8. Not caring about this bishop because it doesn't matter if it gets taken, the position is -6 for black, totally winning, and well, the Grandmaster from Vietnam just resigned here because his Grandmaster skills allowed him to figure out that this position is losing, although it didn't allow him to handle Gandalf Gambit correctly in the opening. The reason this is losing is, well, even if white captures the bishop, here comes a discard check with bishop captures on c4, and no matter what white does, he cannot save this bishop, so we will be losing a piece anyways. And also this king is out in the open without any protection, as these pieces are all undeveloped. And that's pretty bad for white. So congrats to Monkey King for winning this game in only 12 moves. What a great and short game, which portrays what a powerful opening Gandalf Gambit is. It just makes you play bad moves in the opening, even if you are a Grandmaster. Alright guys, since this was just such a short game, I would like to share another game of Monkey King with you. And this one is not Gandalf Gambit, but this is a Charlick Gambit, but it gets really exciting and fun to watch, so let me share this game. White starts with d4 and Monkey King goes for e5 and eventually gets the Charlick Gambit on the board. Let me just go quickly through these opening moves where white will try to develop and black will just simply go for typical Charlick Gambit setup with queen to e7 and bishop to g4. So here white tries to kick this bishop away with h3, but black can go for h5, trying to go for some fishing pole trap. Now I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but also this is a very high rated opponent, because Monkey King is actually an international master, so when he plays a game of chess, only chess, he is facing strong opponents. Well, so in this position, of course, it is not a good idea to capture this bishop with the pawn, because that would allow to open this file for the rook, and that would be pretty dangerous for white. So that's why this bishop isn't going to get captured. But white tries to, develop some pieces, and he goes bishop to g5. Monkey King finishes his development with long castling, and white goes for knight b to d2. What I love about these sorts of gambits is when you are finished with development, you just go full nuts with your moves and you want to create as many threats as possible. So here Monkey King goes for knight to e5. This applies the rule PP on the PP. Put pressure on the pinned piece, so hitting knight on f3 twice. And actually here white decides to deal with this by grabbing the bishop on g4. So pawn captures the bishop, pawn recaptures, opens the rook, and now of course this knight is hit, so it needs to move somewhere, and white plays knight to h4. Well, since there is no knight on f3 that would be captured by this knight, Monkey King goes for his secondary plan and grabs this light square bishop on d3. So of course white recaptures. And now how do you create new threats? Well, you go queen to e5 to threaten a checkmate, right? So once again, something that white needs to deal with, and white plays pawn to f4. With this move he is blocking the battery, supporting this bishop, hitting this queen, looks nice. But it opens up this long diagonal, and now this will get pretty nasty. So watch this. Monkey King immediately utilizes this diagonal with queen to c5 check. The rook cannot block this check, because then pawn to g3 and rook will be lost. So he moves his king to h1. But now just notice how this king is aligned with the rook. And well, Monkey King plays here a savage move. And the move is queen captures on g5. What a move. I totally wouldn't have found this move if I played this game. But what this move does? Well, first of all, it just sacrifices a queen. But if you notice, now this knight has no guard because the bishop was guarding this knight. So of course white happily accepts this sacrifice, but here comes the rook. Rook captures on h4, forcing the king to hide back on g1. And now we can still harass this diagonal because we have a dark square bishop and white doesn't. So bishop to c5 check. Now there is no option but to block this check with the rook. Here comes the pawn hitting the rook, and you can just see how bad this position looks for white, even though he is up a queen. So, well, what can white do? Cannot save the rook, so he just grabs a knight because it is, of course, hanging the whole time. Pawn captures the knight on f6, and Monkey King continues with rook captures on d3. So another piece is joining the attack. And there is not much that I can do about these forces that are coming to get him. He plays pawn captures on d3 because he would like to, create some threats of his own, currently threatening a queen promotion, but it's too late because now bishop captures on f2, comes with a check, king is forced to f1, and rook to h1 delivers a deadly blow because, well, first of all, we could just win the queen back, but even better is to play rook to e3, a pretty cool checkmate. So shout out once again to Monkey King for sharing his games with me. Thank you all for watching my video, and well, I hope to see you around because I'll try to post regularly again. Guys, take care, have fun, and bye.